Chapter 4, Dream of the Red Chamber 3. In 3 years, the capital changed greatly. In the second year of Gusu, Jia Dashan passed away. The Jia family that Jia Min was once familiar with had now changed owners. Although the family had not changed, the eldest brother became a first-class general, becoming the owner of the Jia residence. The second brother, under the emperor's care, was appointed to the Ministry of Public Works. The eldest sister-in-law was pregnant in the first year, and later gave birth to the second child Jia Lian, who should be able to walk and crawl and babble by now, and the eldest son Jia who, when she was about to leave, was still the same size as Jia Lian, and should be going to school now. The second sister-in-law was already pregnant with her first child when she left, and sure enough, later gave birth to the second son, named Jia Zhou. This was the change in her maternal home. For Lin Ruhai, the change in the imperial court was even greater, requiring careful consideration of the relationships within. Fortunately, while maintaining filial piety, he never put down his study of official gazettes. Nan Hoa felt assured of her husband when he returned to be an official. The horse-drawn carriage journey back to Lin House in the capital was very tiring. The entire mansion was also very busy. Nan Hoa took the opportunity to select the servants, and either dismissed or demoted the servants of the Lin and Jia families who bullied the master. The next day, Lin Ruhai and his wife returned to visit his wife's home, the Ronghua mansion. The entire Roning Street was Jia family mansion, the east side was Ninghua mansion, the west side was Ronghua mansion. Very far away, Nan Hoa could see through the carriage curtain the majestic main gate. The 2 doors had lifelike lions, majestic and imposing. Early in the morning, waiting at the second gate, seeing the horse carriage coming, the butler quickly sent a servant to go in and announced, "Master Lin and the young lady is here." Layer after layer of news rushed all the way into the inner courtyard. Nan Hoa was surrounded by a group of maids all the way into the inner courtyard. Although the Jia family was still in mourning, the place they went to was not as gorgeous as before. However, the curved roof and carved pillars along the way still gave one the feeling of luxury and elegance. As Nan Hoa walked inside, looking at this scene that had never changed in more than 10 years, her emotions were in turmoil, filled with lamentation, disappointment, and even hatred. Just as she walked towards Jia's mother's main room, she was hugged tightly. Her mother cried and called out her beloved daughter, saying that her husband had passed away without ever seeing his beloved daughter for the last time, making her even more heartbroken. Her mother cried until she was moved. Nan Hoa thought of her past life and present life, thought of not getting married yet and all kinds of old things, and couldn't help but shed tears. When parents are here, everything is good. When parents are not here, relatives are better than strangers. A group of maids and daughters-in-law hurriedly advised, joked, and interrupted, and with great difficulty they were able to persuade the two. After a while, everyone finally sat down properly. Nan Hoa was pulled to sit next to Jia's mother. Later, they couldn't help but talk about the situation of the two families after leaving the capital. While talking, they didn't know why, but suddenly they heard the second sister-in-law, Wang Shi, let out a sigh. Jia's mother was very excited when she was interrupted. She was in a good mood and did not get angry. She just asked curiously, "Second daughter-in-law, what are you sighing about when everything is going well?" Wang Shi's face was full of regret. Hearing my sister-in-law talk about Jiangnan's small happy events, I couldn't help but think of that fateless grandchild. If it were. Thinking about it, it would be as big as Zhou." The whole bustling room suddenly turned cold. Wang Shi seemed to have just realized that she had said the wrong thing. She laughed lightly and took a towel to slap her face. "Blame me. Blame me. What nonsense did a good man say?" Thinking that his grandson was a celestial child descended from heaven, the in-laws liked him so much that they brought him along, and he stayed by their side day and night. Jia mother's face turned black. Everyone in the house knew about Jia Min's premature birth, but no one mentioned it as if it had happened. It was just that Wang Shi liked to be clever. Eldest sister-in-law Lu Shi chuckled. "Sister-in-law knows she likes to talk nonsense. Next time she will think before she speaks. We all the women in the family can sit together and talk about anything, but when we go out, second brother's face will look ugly." Jia's mother grabbed Nan Hoa's hand, extremely heartbroken. My Minnie has always been filial. When she just got married, she returned and immediately said that her mother-in-law is an extremely good person, she must be filial like her mother. You silly child are really too straightforward, you put your elders first in everything, and ignore yourself. Nan Hoa smiled and comforted Jia's mother. In 100 things, filial piety comes first. Didn't mother often teach me like that? Speaking of at home, eldest sister-in-law also did everything to be filial to you and father. I see. This time I came back, eldest sister-in-law's complexion wasn't very good? Jia's mother nodded repeatedly. The eldest daughter-in-law is a good person, this time your father. It's also thanks to her taking care of everything. Your elder brother is such a brat. If it weren't for your elder sister-in-law, I would have been angry to death by him. He doesn't know how to sympathize with his own wife, just gave birth, so tired, but isn't his wife's body broken? Nan Hoa looked towards Lu Shi. Her face was indeed pale, her body was half as thin as 3 years ago in her memory, and she often covered herself with a handkerchief and coughed lightly, thinking that she was still sick now. Calculate the time of Huni's death. Lu Shi also died quickly. While it is quiet now, eldest sister-in-law should take good care of herself. Big brother likes antiques and gold, so let him go. Our family is not lacking in these things either. Huni and Lian Ni are still young, elder sister-in-law should take good care of herself. If eldest brother gets into trouble, eldest sister-in-law, you must properly advise and persuade him. At that time, mother will not be able to help him. With another meaning, she blinked at Lu Shi, and Nan Hoa turned her head and acted spoiled towards Jia's mother. Jia's mother naturally saw them signaling each other, and knew what kind of slang they were using. Lu Shi was the daughter of the Duke of Li's family. Although she had studied literature since she was young, her personality was very fierce, and she also knew martial arts. This fierceness was not in dealing with people, but in dealing with her husband. Jia, she wanted to take a concubine, she also did not stop, but if it was one here and one here, haphazardly coming? Then wait for Lu Shi to clean it up. A debauched person, facing a wife who is both civil and military, can only swallow blood tears into the stomach, hit, cannot hit, scold, cannot scold. She hits you, only hits the place that is not exposed outside the clothes, scolds people, but is elegant and hurts your heart. The most confusing thing is, by the way, Lu Ti is still very beautiful. Therefore, Nan Hoa suspected that Jia Shi's later debauchery was probably due to being miserably suppressed by his first wife. If Lu Shi had always existed, then the Jia family might have been in a different situation. Jia's mother actually really liked Lu's personality. Not only did she possess her son, she was also very thorough in everything she did. She was fierce when she was fierce. Therefore, she did not have any sad feelings towards her eldest son, and kept saying good things, as if she had long felt that her eldest son should be taught by her daughter-in-law. Outside, Jia Shi, who was holding Lin Ruhai's painting of his neck, was extremely excited. He was completely unaware that his mother, sister, and wife were preparing to teach him a lesson. Wan Shi's face was stiff. Lu Shi was directly mocking her. Jia mother and Jia Min's attitude was as if she didn't exist. The three of them were talking and laughing, completely not taking her into consideration. Moreover, Jia mother's words have hidden meaning. Lu Shi, Jia Min is filial, but she, this second daughter-in-law, is unfilial? Returning at night, Jia Jing and Lin Ruhai chatted happily. Seeing her unhappy expression, he wondered, what's wrong? Wan Shi was full of grievances, but speaking of children's toys, the words hurriedly talked about children's matters. First, that family was teasing me for not leaving the house, my sister-in-law even refused to talk to me all day, inside and outside, saying that the eldest sister-in-law was filial. Mother also followed suit and said that our family was not as filial as the eldest brothers. We are all blood brothers, how could I have such a thoughtless thought? Jia Jing was annoyed. The whole family is very happy, why do you have to be so quick-witted to mention my sister's sad story? Wan Shi shed tears. It's been 3 years, she herself gave 3 children gifts, how do I know that the child can't even be mentioned? Now, not only our house has Zhou Ni, which family doesn't? In the future, won't the nephews be able to see their aunt? Moreover, The next sentence I slapped myself in the face and apologized. I'm just a sister-in-law, what else can I do? Jiajing saw her being so aggrieved, and felt that he couldn't blame her. It was just that on one side, he had watched his younger sister grow up since young, and on the other side, he was his wife. Thinking back, both sides felt that they were not wrong. Moreover, he considered himself a filial son, but he didn't expect that his mother would say that he was not as filial as his lazy and gluttonous older brother. His heart ached, and he let out a strong sigh. Feeling annoyed, he brushed his hands off and walked out. Wangsha raised her head and saw Jiajing turn around and leave, making her even more heartbroken. When the maid came in and pointed at Zhao Concubine's house, she was so angry that her chest felt tight. She hated him so much that she gritted her teeth,